So, what's going on, everybody? I want to talk about boundaries and choosing self. And I want to say that a lot of times people like to attack you with the word selfish. Please don't let that intimidate you because a lot of people use the word selfish, not even maliciously, but they're being manipulative. They want you to feel bad for choosing yourself. Okay. And everything that I've ever been through in life, one thing that I've come to realize is I lacked a lot of boundaries and I didn't choose myself. I didn't state clearly the things that I want and desire. Now, as outspoken as I am, you might be like, what the hell? I know, right? It doesn't make even any sense to me and it's my life. But a lot of this stuff be conditioning. It is things that has come through just growing up. Do as you're told. A lot of religious programming and it's just things in general. Fear, whatever it might be, just not knowing. The thought of stepping out on your own ideas and strengths, maybe it's not a good idea because every time you tried to step out and do something, you were told how you're going to fail or you don't know nothing, or that's a very simplified way of me explaining it. It wasn't that simple. I wasn't necessarily told like you're going to fail, but I'll give you a clear example. One time, I was staying with my dad at this time, right? What's crazy about telling these stories is sometimes these hurt other people. And this story is not meant to paint my dad in a bad light. Mind you, I'm a parent too. We do things that's not necessarily the best thing that we could have done in that situation. But at the time, that's what we did. So it is what it is. But I don't hold any feelings towards it, but I'm just going to share it for an example. So, I was staying with my dad. Now, at this time, I had been put out of my house a few times. It's a lot. I have to go through that story, and I'm going to share that at some point. But I had to come home and move with my dad because this is my second residence since I've been put out of the house. And this particular residence, I stayed at what they call the good times of Southfield. And the building had roaches. And the building had roaches, and the roaches would like come and visit every now and again. It wasn't like they were just everywhere chilling in my apartment, but they would come through. They would pass through because they were in the building. I ended up also getting bed bugs, right? I know, fucking ridiculous. What a fucking nightmare. I had to get rid of my mattress and I ended up sleeping. My son and I had a set of leather couches. So I slept on one, my son slept on the other. Those didn't get hit with the bed bugs, but my mattress did. Anywho, needless to say, I wasn't going to renew my lease with that place. So I moved back home. Now, at this particular time, my parents were divorced. And y'all hear that shit, that Amazon. Anywho, at this particular time, my parents were divorced. My mom had moved out of the home, and now my dad had possession of the home due to their agreement that they had made in the divorce. So I moved home. And fast forward, some months have went by, and I'm on the phone with my girl. Now, mind you, my dad had me staying with him, and I had to pay him $400 a month. Now, my dad makes good money, okay? He's an excellent businessman. He's good with money. That is his thing. Good money. So when I would pay him this money, and I was always paid on time, I would come and put it in the drawer where I would put it, and the money that I gave him for last month was still there. Because he had money. He wasn't worried about no punk ass $400, but he was gonna charge me because in his mind, you had to pay anywhere you go, so you're gonna pay me. Okay, whatever. So one day I'm on the phone. I'm talking to my best friend Tiffany. You've probably seen Tiffany on the Black Love group chat. Well, you haven't seen her. You've seen her picture because she had a damn camera on. I'm talking to her on the phone, and we're yip-yammering about whatever we're talking about. And so my dad and his girlfriend were there at the time. We're all in the kitchen, and he's asking me, he's like, what's going on with you and your money? And so I was very confused as to why he had sideswiped me and jumped in my conversation, because he was here with his girlfriend. I didn't understand why he was jumping in my conversation, and furthermore asking me about my money. Like, I pay you what you ask, and I pay you on time. There is no delay. So why are you worried about what I'm talking about, my money? So I said whatever I said. That pissed him off. Anyway, he ended up chasing me around the house, hit me upside my head. It was just really crazy. And so his girlfriend which is like my second mom, she was like trying to calm me down. She was like trying to like kind of explain things or whatever. But, she was doing whatever she knew how to do at the time. Listen, this is my dad. Listen, we got this dysfunction going on. I know what's going on. One thing about me, I feel like I really don't hold stuff. I just readjust. So my thing was this, right? Hey, this is his place. You want to be tripping or whatever, for whatever reason, that's fine. I will go get my own because I'm 21. I'm not about to be having my dad. I'm not 12. You're not about to whoop me, hit me upside my head, all that. I'm grown. You know what I'm saying? I'm past that age. This time I am dating my current husband. And so I was like, okay, fine. I'm gonna get my own place. My then boyfriend, now husband, and I were driving down the street, and my dad was pissed that I wasn't moving out. So he was like, you gonna end up dropping out of school, and you gonna end up ruining your life, and all, just saying all of this craziness because I was moving out, and he was pissed off, and it was like a part of him was losing control. And instead of just admitting that was out of control, I am an adult, and let's talk about some of the agreements or how we can cohabitate where I can still live, because I understood what he's saying, right? It's hard out there. You're gonna go out on your own, which I'd already had done it some years because I kept getting put out. My mom put me out because she was going through divorce. My dad initially put me out first before my mom. And so now I'm putting myself out because we can't have this, right? I get it. I do. But it should have been like a conversation. It wasn't. Sometimes parents have a hard time even admitting they're wrong, or probably don't even think that they're wrong, right? Because that's what they're used to. They was used to getting their ass whooped and beat upside their head for general principle, let alone something they feel that they're justified in doing. But constantly being a victim of circumstance, or allowing myself to be a victim of circumstance because I didn't know any better. I didn't choose me, so I was always in survival mode. So I had to do the best thing at the time, depending on my circumstances. And it has allowed me to, or it has caused me to do things that are probably, looking at back now, it's like, man, I should have really spoke up. I should have advocated for myself, or said, this is what I want, this, that, and the third. But I didn't. Even as becoming a young mother at the age of 19, which I'm glad I did, right? I'm glad that I kept my son's wonderful kid, but at the same time, I wasn't ready to be a mother. And I never had the conversation with my parents about sex and my options of how to stay safe and what things to take. That wasn't because my mom was very, a super holy roller, so her thing was just to avoid the whole shit. So now with that, you got that component, and then you have the component that I was taught by my dad to take responsibility for your actions. So I'm in it. My actions caused me to be in this predicament. So I have to be a mother. Now, again, listen to what I'm saying. Two things can be true. I'm glad I did that. But also, I could have chose me and opted out of that whole situation. I'm not ready to be a mom. And went on with my hopes, lives, and dreams. Now, looking back, I do know that the path that I have taken that has been very rocky, that have been put on, is preparing me for the things that I'm doing now and will do in the future. For not only myself, but for those that I have to impact and talk to. But still, it's hard. Sometimes we don't say things because we don't want to upset people. Or we feel like if I tell you this, then you might not stick around, or whatever the case may be. Always choose you and deal with it later. Be intentional about your life. Speak and let people know who you are, what you want, what you will not stand for. Because I'm telling you, if you sacrifice that, you will pay for that, not them. Closed mouths don't get fed. You will end up bitter and resentful. And people will try to shove this, you're selfish, you're selfish, you're selfish, because they want you to do what they want you to do. So you have to establish boundaries with those kind of people. Don't let them gaslight and manipulate you because they have their own codependencies or they're short-sighted, they have their fears and they like to impose them on you. Choose you. Being selfish, especially in the earlier stages of your life, is actually the best thing you can do, because when it's time to be selfless, you'll always be ready. You'll always be ready to bend. You'll be selfless in a healthy way, and it can benefit the whole. You see what I'm saying? It's for the greater good when you become selfless. But it's also a balance, knowing when to be selfish, knowing when to set boundaries, and knowing when to be selfless. So that you have to discover too. So I just wanted to part of my story just to talk about that. You know, I'm going to say things, bits and pieces here and there, so these videos won't be entirely too long. But thank you for listening. Please subscribe to my Patreon, because that's going to be the main place where I post my social media. All these other apps, fuck them. I will probably go live on TikTok from time to time, but my main priorities will be YouTube and my Patreon. You can join Patreon for free. Don't worry. Stuff like the Sacred Psychic Medium Circle is something that's a subscription-based, stuff like that. But just general stuff that I post anywhere else is free. All right, love you guys. Thanks for listening, and share this to somebody who may need it. Again, I'm Raquel Shelby, and I'm a psychic medium. But we talk about the natural, the spiritual, and everything in between. All right.